The massive ships appeared without warning, their obsidian hulls reflecting starlight as they emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. 17 vessels, each larger than humanity's biggest space station, arranged themselves in an attack formation that humanity's defense systems immediately recognized. The message that followed was equally clear: submit or be destroyed. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the EDS Hyperion, Earth's first true warship, watching the tactical display with practiced calm. Around her, her crew maintained their positions with disciplined precision, though the tension in the air was palpable. The Nexari Alliance had finally arrived, just as the predictions had suggested they would. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. Admiral Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez reported from his communications station. They're demanding to speak with Earth's leaders. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Put them through to my station only, Lieutenant. Let's see what the Nexari have to say before we show our hand. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the angular features of High Commander Vexera of the Nexari Alliance. His silver-scaled face reflected the harsh lighting of his bridge, 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he regarded Chen with obvious disdain. This is High Commander Vexera of the Nexari Alliance. Your species has been evaluated and found worthy of integration into our collective. Resistance is futile and will result in unnecessary casualties. You have 1 planetary rotation to submit your surrender. Chen studied the alien commander for a moment before responding. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. We've been expecting you, High Commander. In fact, we've been preparing for this meeting for quite some time. Vexera's upper eyes narrowed. Preparing? Your species barely has a presence beyond your own moon. Your technology is primitive, your military capabilities limited. What preparation could possibly matter? You're operating on outdated intelligence, Commander, Chen replied, her voice steady. We've known about the Nexari Alliance for decades. We've watched you subjugate other species, studied your tactics, analyze your technology. Did you really think we wouldn't notice your scout ships? For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Vexera's features. Impossible. Our stealth technology was reverse-engineered from a scout ship that crashed in the Atacama Desert 40 years ago. Chen interrupted. We've kept quiet, maintained the appearance of a primitive species, but make no mistake, we've been getting ready for this day. The tactical display suddenly lit up with new signatures as hidden defense platforms throughout the solar system activated. Weapons systems that had been concealed within asteroid bases and beneath the surfaces of various moons revealed themselves, their targeting systems locked onto the Nexari vessels. What is this? Vexera demanded, his composure cracking as his tactical officers reported the sudden appearance of hundreds of defensive installations. This is humanity's answer to your ultimatum, Chen replied. We're not interested in submission, High Commander. We're interested in survival, and we've learned that sometimes the best defense is ensuring your potential enemies underestimate you until it's too late. The Hyperion's engines hummed to life as more Earth ships emerged from their hiding places throughout the solar system. Each vessel represented years of secret development, combining reverse-engineered Nexari technology with human innovation. You have a choice, High Commander, Chen continued. You can turn your fleet around and inform the Alliance that Earth is not a suitable target for integration. Or you can test our defenses and learn firsthand why humanity has survived every crisis it has ever faced. The silence that followed was deafening. Vexera's 4 eyes darted between different tactical displays, his officers speaking in hurried tones behind him. Finally, he turned back to Chen, his expression a mixture of rage and reluctant respect. You've hidden your true nature well, humans, but you must understand that the Alliance cannot allow such deception to go unpunished. We will return in greater numbers. We're counting on it, Chen replied. It will give us the opportunity to demonstrate just how much more we've been hiding. The choice is yours, High Commander. But whatever you decide, know this: humanity will not bow, will not submit, and will not go quietly into the night. As the transmission ended, Chen turned to her crew. All stations, battle positions. Let's show them exactly what humanity can do. The Nexari ships held their position for several tense minutes before their engines flared to life. One by one, they turned away from Earth and disappeared back into hyperspace, leaving behind a solar system bristling with previously hidden defenses and a species that had just revealed itself to be far more dangerous than anyone had suspected. "They'll be back," Rodriguez said quietly. "Yes," Chen agreed, watching the last ship vanish. "But next time, they'll know they're not facing a primitive species. They'll come prepared for a real fight." "So will we, Admiral," her XO, Commander James Harper, added. "We've got more surprises waiting." Chen nodded, her eyes fixed on the now empty space where the Nexari fleet had been. Humanity had just announced its presence on the galactic stage in a way that couldn't be ignored. The real test would come with the Nexari's return, but for now, they had achieved their first objective. They had shown the galaxy that humanity would not be an easy conquest. "Send word to command," Chen ordered. "Operation Revelation is complete. Begin Phase 2 preparations." As her crew acknowledged the order, she allowed herself another small smile. The Nexari would return, yes, but they would find that humanity's first revelation was just the beginning of their surprises. The hidden arsenal. The Nexari returned 3 months later, just as Earth's defense analysts had predicted. This time, their fleet numbered not 17 ships but 70, their massive forms casting long shadows across space as they dropped out of hyperspace just beyond Mars' orbit. Admiral Chen watched from the bridge of the Hyperion as the enemy fleet assembled in an attack formation that spread across thousands of kilometers. The tactical display showed each vessel clearly, their weapon systems powered up and shields at maximum strength. "They're not taking any chances this time," Commander Harper observed, studying the formation. "No demands, no communication attempts. They're here for war." "Then let's not disappoint them," Chen replied. She opened a channel to all Earth forces. "This is Admiral Chen. Operation Hydra is now in effect. All units, execute according to plan." Throughout the solar system, humanity's response began. What the Nexari had seen 3 months ago had been impressive enough to make them retreat and reconsider. What they were about to witness would change the galaxy's understanding of human capabilities forever. The surface of Mercury shimmered as massive hidden hangar doors opened, revealing squadrons of fighters that had been manufactured in secret facilities beneath the planet's surface. Venus' thick atmosphere churned as orbital platforms, previously disguised as research stations, transformed into weapon platforms that rivaled the Nexari's own capital ships in firepower. "First wave of quantum fighters launching now," Rodriguez reported. "Stealth systems engage." The quantum fighters were humanity's answer to conventional space combat. Using principles of quantum entanglement, they could appear to be in multiple places simultaneously, making them nearly impossible to target effectively. It had taken 20 years to perfect the technology, but watching the Nexari fleet's confused response to the fighters' first pass made every moment of development worth it. "Multiple hits confirmed," Harper announced as the quantum fighters completed their attack run. "Their shields are holding, but they're having trouble tracking our vessels." The Nexari fleet's response was immediate and brutal. Energy weapons lashed out at the attacking fighters, but most passed harmlessly through phantom images, while the real vessels were already moving to their next attack positions. High Commander Vexera's voice suddenly boomed across all frequencies. "This deception ends now. You cannot hope to stand against the full might of the Nexari Alliance." "Actually," Chen responded calmly, "we're just getting started. Activate the Prometheus Protocol." Deep within Jupiter's atmosphere, something stirred. The gas giant's swirling storms parted as a massive structure rose from depths where no conventional materials could survive. The Prometheus station was humanity's greatest achievement in space engineering, a facility that harnessed the fundamental forces of Jupiter itself as both power source and weapon. "Prometheus station online," a new voice reported. "Gravitational lens charged and ready." Target their command ship, Chen ordered. Let's show them what real power looks like. The space between Jupiter and the Nexari fleet seemed to bend as the Prometheus station fired. It didn't launch conventional weapons or energy beams. Instead, it focused and directed the gravitational forces of Jupiter itself, creating a weapon that nothing in the known galaxy could shield against. The Nexari command ship, a vessel twice the size of all others, suddenly found itself caught in a gravitational field that twisted and compressed space itself. Its shields flared brilliantly as they tried to compensate, but they were fighting against one of the most fundamental forces in the universe. By the first stars, Vexera's voice cracked across the comm. "What have you done?" "We've spent 40 years preparing for this moment," Chen replied. "Every time you conquered another species, we studied your tactics. Every time you demonstrated new technology, we found ways to counter it. We knew eventually you'd come for Earth, so we made sure we'd be ready." The Nexari command ship shields finally failed under the gravitational assault. The massive vessel began to break apart, its hull unable to withstand the forces being exerted upon it. Throughout the enemy fleet, other ships scrambled to retreat, their formations breaking down as Earth's quantum fighters continued their harassment attacks. "You're fighting a war you prepared for," Chen continued, her voice carrying across all channels. "We're fighting the war we designed. Remember that difference." The remaining Nexari ships began jumping to hyperspace, leaving their stricken command vessel behind. As the last enemy ship disappeared, Chen ordered the Prometheus station to stand down. The gravitational attack ceased, leaving the broken remnants of the Nexari command ship drifting in space. "Launch rescue operations," Chen ordered. "Let's show them another aspect of humanity they might not expect." As Earth vessels moved to rescue the surviving Nexari crew members, Chen turned to Harper. "Phase 2 complete. But this isn't over." Harper nodded grimly. "They'll be back, with even more ships, different tactics." "Yes," Chen agreed. "But now they know we're not just defending ourselves. We're capable of things they never imagined possible, and they haven't seen everything yet." She turned back to the tactical display, watching as rescue ships approached the wreckage of the Nexari command ship. "Send word to all outposts. Begin charging all Prometheus-class stations. When they return, we'll need every advantage we've developed." The battle was won, but Chen knew the war was far from over. The Nexari would return, and next time they would be desperate. Desperate enemies were dangerous enemies, but humanity had spent 4 decades preparing for this conflict. They had more surprises waiting, more technologies that defied conventional understanding, and most importantly, they had the determination to use every advantage they'd developed. The counterstrike. 2 weeks after the battle at Jupiter, Admiral Chen stood before the United Earth Defense Council in their underground chamber beneath the Himalayas. The holographic displays showed real-time updates from scout vessels tracking Nexari fleet movements throughout nearby star systems. "They're consolidating their forces," Chen explained, gesturing to the tactical display. "Our intelligence suggests they're gathering every available ship for a final assault on Earth, but they've left their core worlds vulnerable. This is our opportunity." General Maria Santos, commander of Earth's ground forces, leaned forward. "You're suggesting we take the fight to them?" "Exactly," Chen replied. "They expect us to wait here, to play defensive. It's time to show them that humanity can do more than just protect our own world." The council chamber erupted in discussion, but Chen's attention was drawn to a new alert on her neural interface. The quantum entanglement sensors they'd secretly installed throughout Nexari space were reporting massive fleet movements. She projected the data for all to see. "The Nexari are mobilizing faster than expected," she announced. "We need to make a decision now. Either we wait for them to bring their full force to Earth, or we strike first and show them what humanity can really do." Council President Zhang stood, his expression grave. "Admiral Chen, you have authorization to proceed with Operation Thunderbolt. Show them why it was a mistake to threaten Earth." Within hours, Earth's offensive fleet assembled near Saturn's rings. The Hyperion led a formation of 30 ships, each carrying technologies that would have seemed like magic just a few decades ago. But their greatest weapon wasn't their advanced technology. It was the element of surprise. All ships report ready, Admiral. Commander Harper announced on the Hyperion's bridge. The Nexari still haven't detected our quantum signature masking. Chen nodded, studying the tactical display. Begin Phase 1 of Operation Thunderbolt. Deploy the quantum bridges. Throughout the fleet, specially designed ships activated their quantum bridge generators. These devices, developed from the same principles as the quantum fighters, could create temporary wormholes that bypassed normal space entirely. It was technology that the Nexari had deemed theoretically impossible, which made it the perfect weapon to use against them. Quantum bridges stable, Rodriguez reported. We have clear passages to all 3 primary targets. Chen allowed herself a moment to appreciate the audacity of what they were about to attempt. In one coordinated strike, they would hit 3 of the Nexari's most important military installations simultaneously. The enemy would have no warning, no time to react, and no defense against weapons they didn't believe could exist. All ships, proceed through your designated bridges, Chen ordered. Maintain quantum silence until emergence. Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting to show the galaxy that humanity will not be underestimated again. The fleet split into 3 groups, each disappearing into their respective quantum bridges. The Hyperion led the primary assault force toward the Nexari's main shipyard at Vexthor Prime. As they emerged from the quantum bridge, Chen had the satisfaction of seeing the Nexari's orbital defenses still powered down, their crews completely unaware of the threat. Launch quantum fighters, Chen commanded. Target their planetary shield generators first, then deploy the gravity bombs. The battle that followed was brief but decisive. Quantum fighters phased through Nexari shields as if they didn't exist, while gravity bombs, miniaturized versions of the Prometheus technology, crushed defense platforms into twisted masses of metal. By the time the Nexari commanders realized they were under attack, their primary shipyard was already lost. Similar reports came in from the other strike forces. Earth's ships appeared literally out of nowhere, struck with overwhelming force, and disappeared again before an effective response could be mounted. It was a completely new kind of warfare, one that the Nexari had never imagined possible. Admiral, Rodriguez called out, we're receiving a priority transmission from the Nexari High Command. Chen smiled. Put it through. High Commander Vexera appeared on the screen, but this time there was no trace of his former arrogance. How? He demanded. How are you doing this? These technologies, they defy the laws of physics as we understand them. That's your problem, Commander, Chen replied. You assumed your understanding of physics was complete. Humanity has spent centuries questioning everything we think we know, pushing boundaries, exploring possibilities that others dismissed as impossible. That's what makes us different. That's what makes us dangerous. She leaned forward, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's determination. You can gather your fleet. You can throw everything you have at Earth. But now you know we can strike anywhere. At any time, with weapons you can't defend against. Is that really a war you want to fight? The breaking point. The Nexari Alliance's Grand Council chamber had never seen such chaos. Representatives from a dozen subjugated species watched as High Commander Vexera faced unprecedented opposition from his own military leaders. The holographic displays showed the devastation at their 3 most crucial military installations, damage that shouldn't have been possible. The humans must be stopped. Vexera insisted, his scales darkening with rage. They threaten everything we've built. Fleet Marshal Koven, his most experienced military commander, stood in opposition. They threaten everything because we threatened them first. These humans, they're different from any species we've encountered. They don't just fight back. They innovate. They create impossible things. In Earth's orbital command center, Admiral Chen watched the encrypted feed of the Nexari Council meeting. transmitted by stealth probes that had been in place for years. Commander Harper stood beside her, both of them witnessing the first cracks in the Alliance's unified facade. "They're breaking," Harper observed. "But that makes them more dangerous, doesn't it?" Chen nodded grimly. "A cornered animal fights hardest. Prep the Lazarus Protocol. If they choose war over reason, we'll need our final contingency." The Lazarus Protocol was humanity's ultimate defensive technology, a system that could temporarily phase Earth itself partially out of normal spacetime, making it virtually invulnerable to attack. It had never been tested at full scale, but the alternatives were worse. Back in the Nexari Council chamber, the debate had turned brutal. "The humans must be hiding weaknesses," Vexera argued. "No species can be this advanced without vulnerabilities." "Perhaps that is precisely why they are so dangerous," a new voice interrupted. Ambassador Silara of the Krith, one of the Alliance's oldest conquered species, stepped forward. They hid their true capabilities for decades. They watched, learned, and prepared. While we conquered through force, they advanced through ingenuity. And now, her words were cut short by alarms blaring throughout the chamber. Emergency reports flooded in from across Nexari space. The quantum bridges were opening again, but this time they weren't delivering warships. Instead, they were transmitting something equally powerful: the truth. Every communication system in Nexari territory suddenly carried the same message. Detailed documentation of the Alliance's atrocities, proof of corruption among its leaders, and evidence that many of their technological advances had been stolen from species they conquered and claimed as their own. Their attack isn't just military, Kivan realized, watching as the data spread unstoppably through their networks. They're dismantling our authority, our legitimacy. On the Hyperion, Chen received confirmation that the information warfare phase was succeeding. "The subjugated species are rising up," Rodriguez reported. "The Krith have already declared independence. The Zethtal fleet is standing down. The Alliance is fracturing. And now for the final push," Chen said quietly. She opened a channel to all Nexari frequencies. "Attention, Nexari Alliance. You've seen our military capability. You've seen the truth of your empire's foundation. Now witness what else we can do." Throughout Nexari space, quantum bridges opened once again, but instead of ships or information, they transmitted something unprecedented. Clean, unlimited energy, beamed directly to the poorest worlds in the Alliance. It was the same zero-point energy technology that powered Earth's most advanced systems. "You built an empire through force and fear," Chen's voice carried across all channels. "We offer something different: partnership, innovation, real progress. Your choice is simple: continue this war and face defeat, or help us build something better." In the council chamber, Vexera watched as more representatives sided with Ambassador Silara. His grip on power was slipping with each passing moment. The humans hadn't just outfought them, they'd outthought them at every turn. "The Alliance stands at a crossroads," Silara announced. "We can cling to our old ways and be destroyed, or we can embrace change and grow stronger through cooperation rather than conquest." Fleet Marshal Kivan stepped forward. "High Commander Vexera, I formally request your resignation. The fleet will not support further aggression against Earth. They've proven themselves not just our equals, but in many ways our superiors." Vexera looked around the chamber, seeing his support crumbling. Years of absolute authority were dissolving in the face of human ingenuity and strategic brilliance. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly as he realized the truth: the Nexari Alliance, as he knew it, was finished. Dawn of a new era. 1 year after the breaking point, the galactic landscape had transformed beyond recognition. The Grand Hall of the newly established Galactic Cooperative hummed with activity as representatives from 24 species gathered for the historic First Assembly. At its center stood a symbol of the new era: a joint council where humans sat alongside former Nexari leaders and representatives of previously subjugated species. Admiral Chen, now serving as Earth's primary ambassador, stood at the podium addressing the assembled delegates. The same tactical brilliance that had won the war now served to forge peace. A year ago, we stood at the brink of devastating conflict, she began. Today, we stand together as partners in progress. The quantum bridge network that once carried our weapons now connects our worlds, carrying knowledge, resources, and hope. In orbit above the neutral world chosen for the assembly, ships from various species patrol together. The Hyperion flew alongside vessels that had once been enemies, their crews now training together, sharing technologies and techniques that made them all stronger. Commander Harper, watching from the gallery, leaned toward Rodriguez. Did you ever think it would end like this? Not just victory, but genuine change. Rodriguez shook his head. The quantum physics we can explain. This, he gestured to the diverse assembly below. This is the real miracle. On the council platform, former Fleet Marshal Cavan, now first speaker of the reformed Nexari Federation, rose to address the assembly. We thought we understood power, he said, his voice carrying clearly through the hall. We measured it in ships, in weapons, in worlds conquered. The humans showed us a different kind of power. The power of innovation, of adaptation, of turning enemies into allies. Ambassador Silara of the Krith, now head of the Technology Exchange Committee, activated a holographic display showing the progress of various joint projects. Clean energy initiatives had transformed polluted worlds. Medical advances shared between species had cured diseases thought terminal. The quantum bridge network had made travel and communication nearly instantaneous across vast distances. But our greatest achievement, Chen continued, isn't technological. It's philosophical. We've proven that diversity breeds innovation, that cooperation yields greater rewards than conquest, that the exchange of ideas is more powerful than the exchange of fire. She turned to address the assembly directly. Earth kept its advances secret for decades because we had to survive. Now we share them openly because that's how we all thrive. Every species here has unique perspectives, unique capabilities. Together, we're not just stronger, we're wiser. The assembly chamber's dome retracted, revealing the star-filled sky above. Among those stars, quantum bridges flickered as ships and information moved between worlds that had once been bitter enemies. Research vessels crewed by multiple species explored the galaxy's mysteries together. Trading ships carried goods and cultural exchanges that enriched all worlds. We face challenges still, Chen acknowledged. There are those who resist change, who cling to old ways of thinking. But look at what we've achieved in just 1 year. Look at what became possible when we chose to work together rather than against each other. She gestured to the stars above. The galaxy is vast, and we've barely begun to understand its mysteries. But we no longer face those mysteries alone. Every problem we solve together makes us better equipped to face the next challenge. Every breakthrough we share multiplies its benefits across all our worlds. In the year since the war's end, humanity had continued to surprise its new allies. The same ingenuity that had created weapons of unprecedented power now produced solutions to age-old problems. The same determination that had defended Earth now drove exploration and discovery. The same spirit that had refused to submit to conquest now inspired cooperation and mutual growth. This, Chen concluded, is humanity's true answer to the universe's challenges. Not defiance alone, but defiance in service of progress. Not just survival, but evolution. Not conquest, but cooperation. We stand here today not as conquerors or conquered, but as equals ready to face whatever the galaxy holds together. As she finished speaking, the assembly erupted in approval. In orbit, ships from every member species formed an honor guard formation, their crews working together with the same precision that had once made them fearsome enemies. Admiral Chen looked out over the assembly, catching Harper's eye in the gallery. They shared a knowing smile. The same smile they had exchanged on the Hyperion's bridge a year ago. Humanity had not just survived its trial by fire. It had transformed it into an opportunity for universal progress. The stars above held new promise now, not just for humanity, but for all species who had learned that the greatest power comes not from domination, but from the combined strength of diverse peoples working toward common goals. The day humanity answered aggression with innovation had become the day the galaxy learned a better way forward.